To second item 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as moved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Those in favor that the motion as moved by Honorable Fulata and seconded by Honorable J.J. Jimo for the items 2 to 8 be read a third time, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk, please read the long titles of.
Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Forensic Science, the Relay, Kwara State, and to make comprehensive provision for the due management and administration and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, or to Jeremy, and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to provide legal framework and to establish Federal Medical Center of Buyan, Delta State, and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Development Studies and Administration of Nigeria, charged with the responsibility to advance the study, training, and determining the standards of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become registered members of the Institute and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education Technical, Kiana, Nasarawa State, provide full-time courses teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, provide for appointment of the provost and other officers of the college to carry out the administration and disciplining of students of the college and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish Nigerian Maritime Trust Fund for the purpose of training, provision of security equipment and related facilities, enhance the skills of personnel of the Nigerian Navy and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to enable effect to be given in the Federal Republic of Nigeria to the ECOWAS as Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons, their ammunition and other related materials and for related matters. Third reading.
All bills read the third time and passed. Honorable colleagues, we're supposed to have an executive session tomorrow. That has been postponed because I think we'll be adjourning till Tuesday. I'm not sure we'll be sitting tomorrow. So it has been postponed till next week, just for your information. The ninth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Petroleum Technology in Bauchi State and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Musa Pali Mohammed. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 24 February 2022, and I invite Honorable Mohammed to move that the bill be read a second time. Honorable Pali.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I remain Musa Mohammed Pali, member representing Plenary 30Th. I stand to move a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Petroleum Technology at Plenary State and for related matter, HB 1875, second reading.
Thank you. It's an establishment bill. We'll get it seconded by Honorable Ganyu Johnson. Use another mic.
It works. Okay. Thank you, honorable colleagues. My name is Abdulgani Johnson. I represent the good people of Oshodi Solo Federal Constituency 2. I'm from Lagos. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second, sir.
Honorable Pali, your bill is an establishment bill for the Federal College of Petroleum Technology. It doesn't require any debate. Is there anybody that wants to oppose it? I don't think so. So I'll put a question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk. Your mic is not working.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Petroleum Technology, Alkaleri, Bauchi State, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill is referred to Comrade Suleiman's Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. 10th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Health Technology, Yala, Cross River State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Jude Ngaji. And members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 21st July 2022. I now invite Honorable Ngaji to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jude Ngaji. I represent the people of Ogoja, La Federal Constituency. I'm from Cross River State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Health Technology, Yala, Cross River State. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Musa, 3 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Musa Umar Galo. I represent Gorzakawa Federal Constituency. I'm from Kano State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second.
Another establishment bill. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk, can you please read the long title?
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Health Technology, Yala, Cross River State, and for related matters. Second reading.
11th order of the day, so this bill is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. 11th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Health Technology, Beni Sheikh, Kaga Local Government, Borno State, and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Usman Zana. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 6th April 2022, and I invite Honorable Zana to move that the bill be now read the second time. Honorable Zana. What's wrong with the mics today? Why are the microphones not working? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Zanda is voting on the floor. I move that the second reading of this bill be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Bill step down. 12th order of the day is a motion on the recommittal of clauses 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 22 of the Nigeria Hunters and Forest Security Services Establishment Bill 2022, standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable Fulata is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent the New York Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, recommittal of clause 7, 8, 10, 12, and 22 of the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service Establishment Bill 2022. The House notes the House records that the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service Establishment Bill 2022, House Bill 1994, was considered and adopted by the House except clauses 7, 8, 10, 21, and 22. Also recalls that the clauses were deferred and the Committee on Rules of Business was mandated to examine the clauses vis-a-vis the extant laws on security agencies. Aware of the findings, which revealed that the clauses are not inconsistent with any extant law on security agencies in the county, appreciates the need to commit clauses 7, 8, 10, 21, and 22 for reconsideration to achieve the intent of the enactment. House resolved to send its decision on clauses 7, 8, 10, 21, and 22 of the bill and commit same to the Committee of the Whole for reconsideration. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Toby.
No, okay.
Okay, who seconded? Honorable Jha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Jaha Babao, Chibok Dambo goes the Federal Constituency. I rise to second a motion ably moved by the Chairman, Rules and Business. I so second. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Why I come on this point of order on constitutional issues, section 308 of the 1999 Constitution, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I want to bring in three particular issues that render this particular bill irrelevant.
Hold on, please, hold on.
Yeah, indemnity. Can you give me the Constitution?
Go ahead, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleague. You will recall that clause 21 talked about indemnity of the commander and the board. And it is completely in conflict with the Constitution of section 308 that gives indemnity to one, the president, the vice president, the governor, and deputy governor. So, referring the same thing to the board and the commander to have indemnity on issues of criminal and civil cases render this particular bill irrelevant and has a very wrong foundation to stand on. That is one.
Can you repeat that, please?
Section 21. I'm coming.
No, the clause, he's talking about clause 21
Clause 21 of the bill.
that we're trying to recommit.
I will read it, Mr. Speaker. Clause 21. A member of the indemnity of officers, a member of the board or the commander general or any officer or employee of the service shall be indemnified out of the asset of the service against any liability incurred by him in defending any proceeding, whether civil or criminal, if the proceeding is brought against him in his capacity as a member, commander general, officer, or the employees of the service. That is one, Mr. Speaker. Two.
No, what do you find
I'm coming.
problem with?
I'll wrap it up. I told you I'm raising three key issues. Three key issues. I will make the observations and wrap it up.
You think it's better that way than to take it?
I think that's the way.
Okay, go ahead.
Clause 2.1, which was overlooked, Mr. Speaker. The function and duty enumerated in the Immigration Act, which this Honorable House passed, does not have anything on issues of forestry. We know immigration is border.
Clause what?
Clause 2.1 of the law. Clause 2.1 of the law. As I'm raising three clauses. 2.1.
No, we're not going back to
2.1.
Wait.
Clause
Wait,
2.1.
Honorable Side. Honorable Side.
I will read.
No. Wait. The only clauses we're concerned about here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 21, and 22. If we're going back to clause 2, which is not part of the recommittal, then we're going outside, we're debating the whole thing again.
I think it's good to make
I think
good
you
laws.
restrict yourself to what is before us.
It is good to make good laws.
No, sir. You restrict yourself to what is before us that is being reintroduced. 7, 8, 9, 10, 21, and 22. We cannot go back at this stage to clause 2. If we have a problem, and like Honorable Jaha observed yesterday, with the entire bill, if we have a problem with the entire bill, which seems to be where you are going now, and I think you may have a good point, and I think members may have a point as to the entire bill itself,
Yeah, that's what I'm wrapping up.
then the procedure is to rescind whatever decision we have made. What we're concerned about now, on the 12th order of the day, is a motion for recommittal of 4 or 5 clauses. So you can now give reasons why those clauses should not be recommitted.
Now, Mr. Speaker, I'm raising a point of order relying on the Constitution. And I say I'm relying on 3 grounds. And one of the grounds is 308 on issues, and I will read.
Do that. I think the point I'm trying to make, and I don't know if I'm
I listened to you very well. I got
go
your
to
point
your
very well.
order, your rule book on relevance. Go to your rule book on relevance and read that out.
No, I'm relying on the Constitution. I'm relying on the Constitution. I'm not going elsewhere. I'm relying on the
You are
Constitution.
relying on the Constitution.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Now, Section 308. Notwithstanding,
Hold on.
notwithstanding any, I'm standing on point of order. You can't raise information.
Hold on. Let's hear his.
You can't raise information on point of order.
Hold on, Honorable Flatter. Honorable Flatter, hold on. What is your, go ahead, 308. Hold on, Honorable, we'll get to your information now.
Say, notwithstanding anything in the contrary in this Constitution, but subject to subsection 2 of this section, no civil or criminal proceeding shall be instituted or continued against a person to whom this section apply during this period of office. And this office is the president, the vice president, the governor and deputy governor that has been indemnified on issues of criminal. Now, Mr. Speaker, this law confer indemnity on Commander General.
Read that again. Read it again.
It said, notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this Constitution, but subject to subsection 2 of this section, no civil or criminal proceeding shall be instituted or continue against a person to whom this section apply during this period of office. And this section, subsection 2 of it, apply to the president, the vice president, the governor, and his vice. Indemnifying the Commander General in this law on issues of criminal issues has contravened the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Two.
How?
Two, Mr. Speaker.
How has it contravened the Constitution?
Now, the Commander General and other board members are not defined in the Constitution as those who have the privilege to end this.
So,
Now, if the Constitution did not give such power, just like me and you, which the Constitution didn't give power, we cannot import for us to benefit from the same section. That is one.
well, before you go further,
Mr.
before you
Speaker,
go, no, please. Before you go further, I want to take it one by one. One, there is recognized law on indemnity, immunity from prosecution and all of that that is not outside, that is outside the Constitution. And the reason why that is constitutional is that if you read that provision of the Constitution that you just read, it says, notwithstanding any other provision in this Constitution.
Yes.
It does not say in any law. It says in the Constitution.
Subject to Section 2. That's
Notwithstanding any provision in this Constitution.
Bet.
Not in.
Bet. The Constitution defines bet.
No.
Bet. Subject.
It's not applicable here. It's not applicable.
Thank
There
you,
are
Mr.
many laws. You've heard of tort.
Except
There are many laws
Yes,
where
sir.
people are immune from prosecution that are not in the Constitution.
Except
Ordinary people, even officers, to protect them. It's called officers' liability. Immunity against liability. It's there. It's in so many laws. So,
Thank you,
next
Mr.
one.
Speaker. Secondly, fourth schedule, 2B of the Constitution.
What does it say?
Fourth schedule.
Yeah, please read it out.
It confers the issue of forest, confers powers on the local government. Now, Mr. Speaker, that particular issue confers power to the local government. That led to Abuja Municipal Local Government bylaws that are here. And in that bylaw of the municipal, forests are defined. The functions of forests by this municipal law. Policing and patrolling forests to ensure compliance, which this law tends to usurp. Policing, patrolling forests to ensure compliance with relevant forestry regulations. Now, Mr. Speaker, many local governments, including Nasarawa local government,
Do you think that municipal law is correct? Because it's talking about policing.
yeah, policing of the forest.
Who has jurisdiction
Now,
over policing?
the jurisdiction of policing of the forest is forest guard, which are under the local government.
Policing.
Yes, policing of forest guard.
What's your point of? Somebody has a point of order. And then we'll go to your information, and then we'll continue with Honorable Osai. Yeah, point of order.
Can you raise a point of order and order? I don't know, Mr. Speaker. Can you raise a point of order on an order?
Mr. Speaker, I'm Yusuf Adamugagdi. Okay. I represent Panshinkanke Kanam Federal Constituency. I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, we must be guided by our rules. I came under Order 9, Rule 4, and I quote, which you have rightly said, that a member must confine his contribution to the subject matter under discussion and may not introduce any matter irrelevant thereto. Mr. Speaker, the order paper is very clear about the clauses we should be debating. Our position yesterday was very, very clear on clauses 7, 8, 10, 21, and 22. Mr. Speaker, I think if we don't restrict ourselves to the section that is recommitted here, we will be doing disservice to our house rule and flogging a dead horse at the end of the day. So I advise that we should not bring any matter outside of the clauses that is subjected before us to debate on. We had said it yesterday that the chairman rule and businesses should give us information on these sections that we need to clarify and reasons why they were recommitted. So if we are going to be talking about Abuja municipal law, in my opinion, as layman as I am, I don't think we are doing justice to our rules by not confining ourselves within those provisions that we need to be talking about it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, before I rule on that point of order, Honorable Toby, you have a point of. Let's take a.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take your information now.
I think
after you.
it's just an addendum to what our chairman Navy has said. I think we should be guided regarding what we are set out here to do.
Point of order again, Mr. Speaker.
Just a moment. Can I drop my point, sir?
He's on the point of order. He hasn't landed.
You can be. What are you pointing?
No,
to?
I told him I would take both at the same time. Go ahead.
Well, I may be forced to say that I'm taking a divergent view. But I think what Chairman Navy has said is that we should be guided by what our mission here is. My expectation, Mr. Speaker, and that was the resolution and that was the ruling yesterday, is that the Chairman House Committee on Rules and Business gets us the data relating to what they considered. Let us be seized of the facts. Let us know why the House should resign its decision and recommit to this Parliament. Just a moment, sir. So I expect that having read the motion, he will adumbrate, he will, add flesh to that regarding the various clauses. If the literature is with us, we will now know. And then if the committee, as a committee, met and took that resolution, we'll be briefed. If the chairman is offering an opinion that he is, we will also know. So we want to know what the committee considered for us to resign the decision.
Yeah, as you know, he had just moved his motion and he was about to debate his motion before a point of order was raised by Honorable Osai. And a point of order can be raised at any point in time. And that was what interrupted his own adding flesh, like you said, and briefing us on what we said yesterday. Honorable Osai, I still maintain, like, according to Honorable Gagdi, which is the same thing he said, on the issue of relevance, that we should restrict ourselves to those clauses that we're trying to recommit. You talked about the Constitution, and I agree that the Constitution is superior to our rules. But the only time you consider the superiority or otherwise of the Constitution to any rule or regulation is if there is a conflict. There is no conflict here between our rules and the Constitution. If there was a conflict, we'll say the Constitution takes precedence, no question. But there is no conflict in our rules saying you should restrict yourself to the relevance of the motion. So if you have any objections to any of those clauses, you can bring them up after he has exactly. So please, you had information and then you wanted to add to. So your point of order is sustained.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, this bill is a Senate bill forwarded to us for concurrence. It was read the first time and it was listed for second reading. All the issues being raised were thoroughly debated on the floor of this House and passed. It was at the Committee of the Whole, after passing the bill for second reading, the bill was passed to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. It was in the Committee of the Whole that issue was raised about those clauses 7, 8, 10, 21, 22. And the issue was that the committee should cross-check whether it is inconsistent with Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Code and the Immigration Customs Act. It is a creation, the bill seeks to create an entirely new security outfit but specifically in charge of forests. Now, those issues that he is raising ought to have been raised at the point of second reading.
So it's a security bill. It's a security issue. It's not forestry. That's the subject matter we need to identify. It's important we identify what the subject matter is to determine whether or not we have jurisdiction over it or not. Because they're correct. Honorable Osai is correct if the issue is forestry, in which case we have no jurisdiction. If the issue is about hunting, we have no jurisdiction. All those things are residual. But if the issue is security, that is what we need to determine as a house. And I believe, but then again, if you've said that this issue was debated on these issues and passed, then the horse may have left the stable. Although we can now call to rescind our decision if we are now convinced that it's not a security issue. So continue.
And passed, forwarded to the committee of the whole for consideration. All those issues that he raised were raised by other members. They were trashed out, and he never raised any objection. He never. Either he was absent, or the two of them were either absent, or they never raised any issue. Because the bill passed second reading. There would have, the bill couldn't have passed second reading without debate. The issues were thoroughly debated and passed. The issues.
Honorable Toby's point is very germane, but those clauses failed at the committee of the whole. Now, even though if the bill passed at the second reading, those clauses failed at the committee of the whole, and you are now asked to go and sort out. So he wants to know now. What about with the civil defense? Because he said that came up as well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my name is Toby Okechukwu. I represent an area of Wojiri Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, by the mere fact that the bill regarding this setting up of Nigerian Hunters and the Forest Security Service, by the fact that the clauses that were germane to the establishment failed at consideration, and by the fact...
Did they fail, or were they stepped down for them to go and look into it?
Okay, they failed passage, but they were asked to go for review. And for the House to do so, it has to be debated and passed and you commit back to the House of the Whole. By doctrine of first topel, you can no longer argue that we cannot debate these issues. We want to know why these clauses should be recommitted. And my expectation is that it should go seriatim. 7 provides this. These were the fear of members, and this is how it wouldn't infringe or infract on any law. That is a judicious, which my expectation is that them, seasoned as a committee, would have assessed, so that we don't come and waste our man hours and do the thing the committee should have done. Give us what is the report, so that we look at it. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, we should err on the side of caution. We have an array of security outfits, civil defense, police, all manner of agencies. And to have a commandant that will not face
that we've been indemnified, somebody practicing his profession, that we should provide security to come and begin to secure us and combine it with his hunting business. We have to be cautious.
Is he securing us or is he securing the forest?
What if he doesn't secure
Do you live in the forest?
If he doesn't secure the forest, how will he be secured?
But I don't want us to get into debating the merits and demerits. We're past that stage.
Okay,
you are absolutely correct. Honorable Flatter, you need to give us seriety. Clause 7, this was the problem.
Exactly.
This is what we found. Clause this I agree with Honorable Toby on that. I think that's the proper thing to do.
Mr. Speaker, by your privilege and the privilege of the House, I was nominated to be a member of Business and Rule Committee. And the deputy chairman of that committee is here. There was never any time this committee sat to deliberate on these items and resolve to recommend this. If not, I would have argued
Point of
at
order.
that committee stage. I'm coming. Honorable Kuye is here. You bear me witness. There was no such meeting of this committee deliberating on this bill. And if there's
Was it the committee that was charged to go and deliberate?
It was a committee. It was a committee, not individual.
No, not one individual, because normally we set up like almost an ad hoc.
Business and Rule this matter was referred to Committee on Business and Rule. And Business and Rule Committee did not sit.
Okay. All right.
And if they sat, let them produce the report.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Let us go to clause 7. Clause 7 of the bill. This is the clause 7 of the bill is not in conflict with any extant law in Nigeria. In fact, the bill replicates clause section 9 of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Act with modification to suit its purpose. Clause 8 of this bill on pension has the same word.
Let us take
let's take it clause by clause. So clause 7, your finding was that it did not conflict with the immigration or...
Okay.
But you said instead it duplicates or replicates, or clause 7, what was it you said now?
What I said was clause 7 of this bill is not in conflict with any extant law in Nigeria. In fact, this replicates section 9 of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Act with modifications to suit its purpose. That's clause 7.
Before we go to clause 8.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You see, I think it was a golden rule established by this parliament and yourself in particular, that we should address and discuss the economics of bills. If a bill coming to this parliament is replicating what civil defense is doing, what is the economics of doing so?
He didn't say the bill was replicated. He said that clause. He said the clause.
Sorry.
The clause.
Yeah. Please, I take that back. I take that back. I said the clause is replicating a clause in Civil Defense Act, which means that we have found out that responsibility to an existing agency of government. So why should we, in this economy, at this material time, come and duplicate what ordinarily should go to local government or states? And why should we, when we are struggling to unbundle Nigeria police, begin to establish something that civil defense, by act of this parliament, is suited and is doing? So I do not see the need.
Yeah, you have a point. I mean, if the only argument now is the argument regarding clause 7, is the argument of duplication, it is no longer a legal argument. It is now the exigencies, whether it is necessary or not. And the argument on the other side could be that the forest presents its own peculiarities. and therefore there's a need. If you overstretch, we've talked about overstretching the police. If you want to stretch them again into the forest, who mans the cities? That could be the argument. The argument could also be that if a subject matter is already taken care of by an outfit, does not mean that depending on the peculiar, for instance, you have EFCC and you have ICPC, and you have the police. It's all about corruption. But because corruption is so endemic in Nigeria, the same way security is so is an issue, I think we in this house found it at that time expedient to have ICPC, to have VFCC, to have, now events may have overtaken that. So sometimes you have multi-dimensional outfits to take care of a particular situation. Yeah, so you balance the equities and you weigh which one pays up. That do you want to erring on the side of caution can be argued to mean, you know what, let's man our forests with a new outfit. Let's err on the side of caution that we are duplicating. That could be the argument for erring on the side of caution. It could also be your argument. So, clause 8.
Order 18. Order 18, Mr. Speaker, of our rules. Order 18, Mr. Speaker.
If you want to talk, you raise your hand that you have a point of order. There's a point of order, so he has to be recognized. That's what the rule says. But he can have a point of order 100 times. I cannot ignore his point of order. If anybody else has a point of order, they raise it, point of order, we speak. And then once we've resolved the points of order, we go to the debates. We go to the debates. And we've wasted a lot of time on this. Can you please quickly...
Order 18, Mr. Speaker, Rule 3, sub-Rule C.
Please read.
The report of...
What page? What page?
Page 106.
Yeah.
The report of a committee is a report as determined by the committee as a whole. Mr. Speaker, the report the business and root chairman is giving today is personal. It is personal because there's no report before you, Mr. Speaker. If a committee is saddled with a report or referred to...
Honorable Osai. Honorable Osai.
Yeah.
Honorable Osai. Is this a report as envisaged by our rules?
Now,
this is not a report. This is not the report that our rules are talking about.
Sir.
This is not the report our rules are. What we told the committee to do was to go and look into
and produce a report.
Whether or not, I don't know about producing a report. We didn't say, don't add what we didn't say. We didn't say they should go and produce a report. Come back and tell and brief the house is what we said.
Verbally?
Sure, it's happened several times. It has happened so many times. When there's a problem in this house, we don't know which way to go. We set up 3, 4, 5-man committee. Go and look into this and come back and tell us.
A member of the committee.
That's exactly what we did.
A member of committee nominated by...
Yeah, ruled out of order.
No.
Somebody wanted to say something.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am from Kano State. Aminu Suleiman is my name. I represent Page Federal Constituency. You brought an issue and you are disturbing the flow. Chief Whip, call the House rules to order. Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to take us back to when this matter was debated. And very many of us that debated and took position that time took position on the basis of subsisting two scenarios. One, the issue of our ungoverned forests in the country that gave residence to criminal activities. And we felt any initiative that would take control of the forest outside the bandit
and to secure people is a welcome development. That was the first attraction. The second attraction is also to assist our security agencies that are almost overwhelmed by multiplicity of problems left, right, and center. Now, my worry, sir, is that if there is any problem with these clauses that were observed and stepped down at the point of passage, decision was taken to revisit them and give reason. He has come with reason. My expectation from the opponent of this is to take the clauses one by one and share with all the dangers and implications outside what the House, the committee of the chair was asked to do. With this, we will benefit from their own perspective and probably change position. But my concern is that it is like becoming a personal issue between PU and the chair of the committee. If they come out with reasons that are convincing and compelling, we may change gear here, because the interest is the security of the country, not any other censor.
Yeah, that's why I said we should stick to relevance and not talk about anything outside those clauses. We have dealt with clause 7, Honorable Fulata, clause 8. Clause 8 and why we should recommit clause 8.
Clause 8 of the bill is on pensions and has the same wordings of Section 10 of the Civil Defense Act with modification to suit its purpose. And what is Clause 10 is saying in the Civil Defense Act? It's saying the service in the Corps shall be approved service for the purposes of Pension Act, and accordingly regular members and employees of the Corps shall be entitled to pension, gratuities, and other entitlements and entitlement benefits as are prescribed under the Pension Act.
Why was that clause 8? Why was it stepped down? Why did members have reservations about? Does anybody have any reservation on clause 8 and whether it should be recommitted or not? Clause 8. Actually, we can go it clause by clause. We can actually do it. Whether clause 7, so we're not going to take it wholesale. Eh? Which motion? It's debating a motion. Okay. Okay, that's clause 8. Well, I think what we'll do is to save time, let's go to clause 8, clause 9, and all the clauses. Now, if anybody now wants to speak against any of the clauses, we'll now, instead of taking it, yeah. So, move on, next clause. 10.
Section 10 of the Nigerian and Civil Defense Corps is saying the service in the Corps shall be approved service for the purposes of Pension Act, and accordingly regular members of the employees of the Corps shall be entitled to pensions, gratuities, and other retirement benefits as are prescribed under the Pension Act. And Section 21 is saying, Clause 21 of the bill, indemnity of officers, has similar provision with Section 23 of the Corps Act with modification to suit its purpose. And what is this Section 23 saying? Section 23 is saying a member of the board or the Commandant General or any other officer or any employee of the Corps shall be indemnified out of the assets of the Corps against any liability incurred by him in defending any proceeding, whether civil or criminal, if the proceedings is brought against him in his capacity as a member, Commandant General, officer, or other employee of the Corps. This is what is saying.
So I want to go back to Honorable Sai's point. So that provision is similar to what you have is a law in another, similar in other. So you see, Honorable Sai, that was my point, that it's not unconstitutional. It does not conflict with it, because we have it in so many laws replicated. That was my point. So it's not just this one. 22.
Any information referred to under paragraph B of subsection, except when required to do so by any court or in such other circumstances as may be prescribed by the board from time to time. Still going on, subsection 2, a person who contravenes the provision of this subsection 1 of this section commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine of not less than 20,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. These are the provisions.
So basically my understanding is that those clauses were stepped down because we wanted to clarify whether they were in conflict with other laws or not. Honorable Kuye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Ademorin Aliu Kuye. I represent the good people of Shomolu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, it's very hard for me to comment on this motion, but because of my interests for the country and for the integrity and the honor of this House, it is important that I say something on this motion. Mr. Speaker, all the point of order raised by Osai wouldn't have been necessary if the chairman of Committee on Rules and Business has complied with the directive of this House, directing that the Committee on Business and Rules should sit and consider these clauses that are subject of discussion today, whether they contradict any existing extant law. Mr. Speaker, I stand on my honor and my integrity that these clauses were not considered by the Committee on Business and Rules at any time. At any time. And it will be dangerous for us to sit down here and admit that that was done. It means we are failing in our responsibility and in the respect that you have for us to watch your back for you, sir. I so submit, sir.
Okay, very good. That's to the procedure, but we'll talk about the substance. And thanks for the information. You have a chairman. You have the response.
Mr. Speaker, the reference was made to two committees. Committee on Rules and Business and Committee on Interior. Myself.
Silence, please.
In fact, just wait. The clerk just informed me now that he checked and the reference was to the chairman of the two committees. Exactly what you are saying now. The clerk just informed me now that it wasn't to the committee as a whole. It was to the, oh, you have something different?
By the Honorable Chairman.
Okay, so but what is more important is don't worry about what's in the motion. What's more important is the
votes and proceeding is in line with this one.
Which votes and proceeding?
The votes and proceeding of this day is in line with also what the extract, the chairman rules and business has brought before us today, which is a particular, except people are going to discard.
This is votes and proceedings from yesterday.
This is the order of today.
Yeah.
I'm reading it that it was referred to a committee, not chairman.
No, that's the order of today. I'm saying when it was referred, long time ago.
No, but we can look at the votes and
No. What is important is what, yes, it's the votes and proceedings that he's telling me now, the clerk.
He's speaking from his heart. No, he's not speaking from the book.
Go ahead.
We are called by our names by the chair of the Committee of the Whole. Two of you go and sit down, go through this, and with two of us sat, along with our secretaries, to come up with this presentation. Most of the work were done by our clerks. Most of the work were done by our clerks. They should take the credit. They should take the.
Let's just leave it at that. Let's take our clerk's word, if we don't know what to take the chairman's word, let's take the clerk's word that it was referred to the two chairmen. I have never from experience known of a situation where at a committee of whole, the matter was referred back, or one or two clauses or an issue was referred back to well, it's happened a couple of times, but mostly what we do, if there's a sticking point, we appoint, normally we even include justice. We appoint 3, 4, 5 people to look at the issue and get back to that. That's the precedence that I know. Maybe this might have been referred to the committee, possibly, but from what the clerk has just said to me now, subject to rebuttal with evidence. The other paper is not of today is not evidence. Subject to rebuttal with evidence, I think we should, that's why the clerk is there, rely on his own recollection.
Yeah,
Honorable Toby.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a matter of fact, I know the passion which insecurity engenders on our people, the challenges we have. And I took very particular note of what Comrade said regarding the justification or the need for us to do it, and that the need for this report to take place. Well, it's not personal. What our aspiration here is for a more perfect union. And we don't do things out of individual interest. We do it for the Federal Republic. And we know what the challenges are. We know how these organs can mutate to something very different. And that is why the wisdom of two persons is great. The wisdom of two committees will be greater. And my own thinking, Mr. Speaker, they should excuse us from this argument that has lasted for 2 days. My expectation is that we should get further and better brief. Let the committees go and sit. Let us have a more informed direction in this regard. I don't want to even raise the issue of having like you made reference to EFCC, ICPC, and then the police, all of them pursuing, the fraud unit or something that was newly created, intelligence unit, NFIU. Mr. Speaker, we have all these agencies, a lot of body mass. How far with corruption? What we need to do is the efficiency of the process. What can serve Nigerian people better? So I would expect, Mr. Speaker, that let us refer this back, take a much more seasoned approach to it. It's not anything personal. And there is no need enforcing it, and when you go to court and it's abdicated. There are issues of Land Use Act. There are issues of things, all these behemoth laws we are making for the Federal Republic against this thing, for things ordinary, populate and gather intelligence on your forest. It's no big deal. Central commands are all gone. It's taking a back seat in running of nations. So my own thinking is that let us do a better job. It's not how fast, it's how well. So this law is Commandant General of Hunters and Security Service. What does that mean? So please, Mr. Speaker, let us take a seasoned approach. Let us refer back to the committees. Let them exhaust this debate there and then get back to us.
Thank you, Honorable Toby. First of all, Honorable Toby, there must always be an end to litigation. We cannot continue to be sending referrals back and forth and swinging like a pendulum and going back and forth. There was a reason why, assuming that the clerk is correct, assuming that the chairman business is correct, that this House referred it to the two chairmen of the committees. Perhaps they thought it was enough for the instead of having 80 people. You know that there are about 40 people in any committee. There are about 80 people to determine 3-4 clauses. The chairman, in our wisdom as a House, we told the two chairmen, what you are asking for is for us to rescind that decision. And there's a process for that. To rescind the resolution that the two chairmen should look at it, and now say, no, not the two chairmen anymore. The committees should look at it. That takes, there's a procedure for rescission. And like I said, there's got to be an end to litigation. We've wasted valuable time. But this is important, the debate is important. Over an hour on this issue. There's no guarantee that even when the committees sit, many of us that are still not in agreement will now want to debate it again. We'll spend another hour or more. I think, Honorable Toby, if you may be shifting the goalpost. You said that the man should read the thing seriatim, clause by clause. He did it. You were not satisfied. You've now said, no, committee should go and do it. No, Honorable Toby, you cannot eat your cake and have it.
Based on the issues raised by these committee members.
No. The committee members, wait. In fairness to Honorable Kuye, and we have to address it. If his committee members and Honorable Osai said that they did not sit to consider this, that's a no. We won't accept that. But we have since been corrected by somebody who should know, the custodian of the Hansard and the things that transpired in this House, that is the clerk. His institutional memory has reminded us that no. This is what happened. So yes, whilst Kuye and Osai would be right ordinarily, they thought that it was referred to their committee, but it was not.
But if you refer to paragraph 2,
Honorable Toby,
paragraph 2, He said that the matter was
Point of
referred to
order. Point
committee
of order.
on rules and business.
Please.
No, here. No, if you allow me, I'll read it.
What are you reading?
Okay, it says, order 12, item 12 of an order paper, recommittal of clauses 7 to 22 of the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service Establishment Bill. Paragraph 2 says, also, the House also recalls that the clauses were deferred, and the Committee on Rules and Business was mandated to examine the clauses vis-a-vis the extant laws of the securities agencies. This is a motion authored by the chairman of the committee, making reference to what the House has resolved, and the people it says should look into it. Interior is not even here. But I'm saying that the reference is to the committee. If that is in error, well, that is in error. I do not doubt the clerk, but the greater witness would have been the first and proceedings.
I think let us not it's called nitpicking. This is called nitpicking. If the chairman and the clerk have said that it was referred to the chairman of the committee, not the committee, there is nothing wrong in drafting. You can call it illegal, inelegant drafting. If the chairman of the committee says it was referred to the committee, yes, it was referred to the committee. He's the chairman. He is the chairman.
It's not known for inelegance.
He symbolizes the committee.
Mr. Speaker.
He's not known for inelegance in drafting. He's very elegant.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, Mr. Speaker.
All right. Interesting debate. We'll put the question. The question is that clauses 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 22 be recommitted of the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Services Establishment Bill 2022 be recommitted in accordance with Order 12. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Honorable Toby. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Osai? Osai, my question is, I want to put the question again because I want to hear your voice. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martia Monguno Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, I want to cite our order here, Supra, on the conduct of members and rules of debate. Mr. Speaker, I am surprised by the conduct of the Deputy Minority Leader. Without the recognition given to him by the Speaker to take the floor, he uses his microphone to harass the Speaker without recognition from the Speaker, and then just keep on talking. So please, members should be cautious.
It's all right.
We should be guided by our rules.
It's all right. His feelings were hurt. It's okay. Don't worry. Yeah, he has just observed you that I haven't recognized you. You stood up and you started talking. He has just raised a point of order. You have just. Yes, please reply. I'm enjoying it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. In your presiding over the chambers, you've come to a lot of good judgments. And it's not your judgment while we were speaking that Honorable Toby was harassing the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, if I was harassing the Speaker, by the rules of this House and by the scope of responsibilities of the Chief Whip, he ought to have done his front-end activities by calling me to order. And not, just a moment, sir. You can have your 15 minutes of fame. But let me drop my point. So Mr. Speaker didn't come to that judgment. And for the whip to come back.
Honorable Toby, there's some
after the
judgments.
fact.
There's some judgments I come to, but I ignore. I let it go. I let it slide.
Thank you for ignoring that.
And that
but
is
I
why
was
the
not-
chief whip.
there was
That is
no
why the
intention.
chief whip was there, and he was doing his job, and he did it well.
He wanted to
Yeah,
remind-
ruled out of order. Yes, the 13th order of the day is a motion on the need to condemn attacks on offices and facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, standing in the name of Honorable Olaniwaju Ibrahim Kunle. Honorable Olaniwaju is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Ibrahim Kunle Olarewaju. I represent the entire people of Moba, Ido-Osi, Ilejimeji Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Ekiti State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have a motion which is the need to condemn the attack on offices and facilities of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Mr. Speaker, with your kind commission, I want to move. The House notes the frequent systemic arson and attack on the personnel, offices, and facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The premeditated attack is targeted at crippling the Commission and scuttling the 2023 general election. Also note that between February 2019 and May 2021, an NGO, which is the Socio-Economic Rights Accountability Project, SERAP, reported at least 41 arsons were carried out on the Independent National Electoral Commission facilities in 14 different states. Worried that on the same day, arsonists and thugs set ablaze the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC building at Okeresi, at the South Local Government of Osun State. Also worried that if this systematically orchestrated attack on personnel and facilities of Independent National Electoral Commission are not checked, the actions are capable of disrupting the 2023 general elections. Observe that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended guaranteed democratic governance as the only acceptable and legitimate means of governance and democracy is only sustained by free, fair, and credible election. Hence, an attack against election is an attack against democratic governance, and perpetrators of such attack are enemies of the country. Disturbed that despite the affronts to democracy and constitution of Nigerian state, the Nigerian police and other security agencies have been unable to arrest the perpetrators of this heinous crime. Mr. Speaker, I therefore move that the House resolve to condemn all form of attack on the facilities and building of the federal government in the country, particularly attack on the facilities and infrastructure of the Independent National Electoral Commission. All politicians and stakeholders to admonish their supporters to refrain from attack and violence before or during the 2023 general election. Urge the Nigerian police, Nigerian civil defense and security corps, and other security agencies such as Department of Security Services to synergize with the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to identify, investigate, arrest, and prosecute perpetrators behind this attack. Set up another committee to investigate the remote and immediate cause of this incessant inferno on INEC office in different parts of the country and report back within 3 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Yeah. Honorable Abanikoro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by Rep. Olanrewaju on the need to condemn attacks on offices and facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Honorable Duko, have you finished?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
Second.
Yeah. Those in support amendment?
Yes. Point of information.
Kakale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain
Information,
Honorable
Mr.
Balaro
Speaker.
Shokakali.
Have you agreed with Honorable Oluga?
Yes, but I have an information too.
Okay, after
Okay.
the amendment.
I remain Honorable Balaro Shokakali, member representing Botinga, Dangishu Traitor. I'm from Sokoto, Provincial. My amendment, Mr. Speaker, is on the prayers to also urge politicians and the police to uphold the various peace accords signed across the country, and also call on the police particularly to avoid being partisan in the provision of security to politicians and other stakeholders. Those are my amendments, Mr. Speaker, because we've had areas where the police are partisan in providing security and sometimes even shielding those who promote political violence in perpetrating breakdown of law and order in the country. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Unfortunately, I didn't even hear your amendment.
Can I take it again, sir?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Any seconder to the
submit it.
amendment? Any seconder, Honorable Pascal?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my noble colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I'm Honorable Dr. Pascal Chigozie Obi. I represent the people of Idata North, Idata South Federal Constituency. I'm from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the amendment ably made by my colleague on the motion that was just raised. Mr. Speaker, I say second.
Those in support of the amendment, please say aye. Those against it, say nay. Ayes have it. There was another amendment. Okay, man. Okay, yes, sorry, information, yes, Honorable Duku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues. Mr. Speaker, this is a document. The fourth paragraph of the motion says the cost of producing one PVC is 170,000 naira. That is wrong. The cost of producing one single PVC is 550 naira. And it is 170,000 naira on the motion. So I want this to be corrected first.
It's important that we put this on record, please.
Yes, yes, sir.
Part of the debate.
Yes, sir. Today.
Honorable Luga, where did you get your costume from? Honorable Larewaju.
I'm sure the Honorable Speaker knows why he called Honorable Luga. Mr. Speaker, I seek to amend that particular paragraph to 5,500.
500. It was a.
Mr. Speaker, is less than 1,000 naira.
That's what I'm saying. I seek
not
to
5,000. Not 5,000, Mr. Speaker.
No, it was a typo. It was a typographical error. He has corrected it. It was a typographical error. Honorable Comrade Suleiman.
Honorable Speaker, I am from Kano State, and my name is Comrade Amin Suleiman. I represent Page Federal Constituency. Honorable Speaker, are we debating the motion now? All right.
I think if anybody wants to speak against it, because we've lost valuable time. If there's anybody that wants to speak against it.
Not against it, but a correction in the prayers.
You want to make an amendment?
Yeah, in the
Oh yeah, we've already taken one amendment. Yeah, what's yours?
Recommendation number 4, setting up an ad hoc. I think, sir, number 5, number 4. From my list, number 4. I will advise against setting up of an ad hoc. We have a committee, and looking at the life of this assembly itself, it will get bogged down with bureaucracy of setting up, taking up communication. There's already a committee on the ground.
Since they should just get started.
I agree with you, but I think the mover of the motion and the chairman of the committee have already discussed that. I think there's a lot of work ongoing right now with the committee on INEC, and the chairman agreed that an ad hoc committee should be set up. Chairman, look up now. That was I'm serious. I actually asked her because I saw the motion. There was an ad hoc, and I told them to talk, and I think they've agreed. She's so overwhelmed. There's a lot of what's happening with our electoral offences bill. What's the status now?
The chairman rules and business is supposed to list it for consideration.
Chairman, that's a very important bill. How far?
Which bill is she talking about, sir? Which bill is she talking about?
Electoral Offences Commission Bill.
Right.
What do you say? Which one is override? There's a bill, Electoral Offences Commission Bill. She says that it's waiting for consideration and it hasn't been listed. Please, let's list it next week. It's a very important bill. It's a very important bill. You know, I think it has been passed by the Senate, right? Yes. Let us not delay it in the House.
Honorable Koko, take your leave now. Honorable Koko, Chairman Air Force, take your leave.
Oh, okay. I just got better information from the chairman. They're trying to tidy up the bill. Yeah, there's a lot of work to go into that electoral commissions bill, offences commission bill. So it may not come up again next week. Please quickly tidy it up, chairman. Chairman, rules and business. So quickly tidy it up. Obviously, next week is not practical anymore.
Honorable Koko, Chairman Air Force.
I think where we are is Comrade had an amendment. You had an amendment. You moved it. Did somebody second your amendment? Have you moved your amendment, Comrade?
I did, but it was intercepted by your explanation. If you backend your explanation, it can be seconded.
Okay, the ad hoc committee. Okay. Honorable Darlington has an amendment, which is. Honorable Darlington, what's your amendment?
It was a big.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and dear colleagues. My name remains Darlington Nwokocha. I speak for Isialangwa North, Isialangwa South Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, my other amendment is that the INEC should interface with the state government to post permanent local security outfit or vigilante to each and every local government INEC office. The reason is simple. They should interface with
post vigilante because these people.
Silent, silent, honorable colleagues, silent. Let us have decorum. Let us have decorum, please. Silent. Silent, silent. Osai, Honorable Osai, please. Honorable Osai. Silent, please. Let us have decorum. Silent, silent. Honorable Kakale. Honorable Kakale. Honorable Kakale. Please approach the acting chief whip, please. Allow speaker. Please. Over. Honorable, please. Allow speaker Olumide. Olubumi. Honorable Olubumi, please. Chairman information. Allow speaker, please. Let's continue. Honorable Isaka. Honorable Isaka. Honorable Olaruwaju, please. Let us have decorum. Oh, Sergius. Honorable Sergius, please. Let's have decorum,
where are we?
please.
Where are we?
Order, order, please.
Honorable Darlington, have you moved your amendment?
Mr. Speaker, based on popular request, I have to step it down. Yes.
Do we put the question? Those in support of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. The ad hoc committee has set up. Honorable Oluga will chair, Honorable Bila, Honorable Jaha, Honorable Banikoro, Joseph Bello, Engineer Sani, Comrade Suleiman. Comrade Suleiman, you are accepted to serve? After you move an amendment that you should go to standing committee? Thank you. All right. Sorry, of course, I forgot to add Honorable Olanrewaju, the mover of the motion. The 14th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Commerce on the approval of a promissory note program to settle outstanding claims in respect of the export expansion grant. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Wednesday, 30 November. Honorable Fake will move for its consideration.
Honorable Faskar. Honorable Faskar, please go back to your seat. Olaruwaju, you are just added into the ad hoc committee and you are disturbing us in the floor. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Femi Fakeye. I represent Ifedayo, Buluwadura in La Federal Constituency of Osun State, and I rise to move for the consideration of the report of the Committee on Commerce on the approval of a promissory note program to settle outstanding claims in respect of the export expansion grant EEG between 2007 and 2020. I so move.
Honorable TJ, can you second?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Yusuf Ahmed Tijani, member representing Okene, Gomagogo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by Fakeye. I so second.
Thank you. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it.